Going on, everyone? So this is my review for Harriet. For those of you who don't know, Harriet is the story of Harriet Tubman as she transforms herself from escaping from slavery into essentially one of America's greatest heroes. This is a movie I was very much so excited for, it being about Harriet Tubman, which I hadn't seen a movie up to this point about Harriet Tubman, so there was that, as well as the fact that I liked the cast and the story interested me. So right off the bat, I'll say this: the cast is fine with what they're given. You have Cynthia Revio in the lead titular role. She's good with what she's given. Leslie Odom Jr. is also good. Joe Alvarin is also good. This is a movie where, in terms of like cast, they do a fine job. Production and costume design are also top notch. Easily, probably the best things about the movie. Very detail oriented. Like you can definitely tell that when they were making this movie, they were very set on being like period piece accurately, and I liked that. Also, I like how they did a movie about Harriet Tubman because I feel like this is a movie that's an independent movie, but also has mainstream appeal, especially with the way they've been marketing it. So I feel like more people are going to know about this movie in terms they'll know more about Harriet Tubman. And I like that. I like the fact that this movie's even made because I want people to know more about this story. However, the story itself, I think, is butchered. I think this movie's not good at all. Just saying it right off the bat. Whilst I appreciate they made a movie about Harriet Tubman, I wish that it was more fascinating. This is a movie that is very, quite literally, black and white. It's dealing with themes that aren't gray in the slightest. It's very bludgeoned with what it's trying to achieve, and it's very kind of like, oh my goodness. There's even some scenes where it tries to get like sympathetic with like the slave owners that are so clearly before this point in the movie painted as like the bad guys, and it's like, what the heck, And it's like, it's kind of annoying because it's like, and then it's the other way around where you'll have some good guys just kind of, be like 100% wholesomely good, and it's like, well, that's not how people are. Every single person has like some gray in their life where it's kind of like, you meet someone, you're like, I don't know about that. I don't know about if I like that about that person or that, but I like this and this. And that's the thing. I feel like this movie, it should have been more gray. Me personally, that's my belief. And I do also think that the story could have been more engaging. I felt like this movie was paint by numbers, but movie style. It felt like a McDonald's sandwich. You know what I'm talking about, where it's like there are hundreds and maybe even thousands of chains of McDonald's across the world, and yet they all follow a formula, and that formula is not changed in the slightest. And this movie seemed like it took from any number of biopic scripts and then was like, hey, just put Harriet Tubman in the lead role. And it kind of stinks because, again, Harriet Tubman's life was very interesting. I just wish the movie itself also was interesting. I haven't even gotten to the character development. I mean, I mentioned how you have characters that aren't really that great, but you also are dealing with characters that are very bland. There wasn't that much fascinating stuff that I personally felt was to these characters. And I also just kind of think with how they handled Harriet Tubman, it was kind of like a way. Because the last 5 minutes of the movie is when things like get really interesting. And it stinks because then the movie obviously ends, and it's like, why didn't we see that as a movie? And I'll give you the answer right now. I mentioned how this movie has mainstream appeal. I feel like this movie was almost like the Iron Man of biopic movies. You know what I'm talking about, where like Harriet is setting up for other movies about like biopics. And that's literally what it felt like. I know that's probably not what the director was trying to do, but that's how the ending felt to me personally. And it stinks given the fact that you're dealing with material that's very fascinating. A character that's very fascinating in real life. And that's why it also kind of dampers the mood even more when the filmmaking wasn't even that good. I hate to say it, but the writing was very weak. And you're also dealing with cinematography and music that really isn't that good. Particularly the music. I think the musical choices that they utilized in terms of the score really didn't fit the movie. And sometimes it was a little too like sappy in terms of being sentimental. But not only that, you're dealing with cinematography where there's some really cool scenes and really cool shots in those scenes. And then there are other scenes where it's like poor lighting and or scenes that aren't molded together in a way that feels cohesive with the shot composition. That stinks. And not only that, there's something else that really bothered me. This is a movie that is dealing with history. And I feel like this movie was kind of twisting history to make it so that it was digestible for mainstream audiences. And it sickens me because you have two movies in the past, 12 Years a Slave and Lincoln, that weren't digestible in the slightest. They did well at the box office given with how much they costed. And they weren't, again, the most digestible, but they had messages. They had story. They had characters. all of which felt very organic and original. This movie had none of that, and it stinks given the fact that this is a movie that had so much potential. In the end, Harriet, I think it's a disappointing movie. I think that it's a movie that, whilst I'm happy, is about a character that some people may not know about. This movie will introduce them, and if they're interested even more after watching this movie, they can look up the Wikipedia page. But besides that, I think that this movie is very poor, very disappointing, honestly, and that's why Harriet, for me personally, I'll be giving it a 2.5 out of 5 star rating. Like I said, I didn't like this movie. I really do wish I liked this movie, especially given how much I love 12 Years a Slave and Lincoln. So that's my thoughts, though, guys. Harriet, what did you guys think of it? I personally am really beat after watching that movie. It just really felt so safe and sanitized that it didn't even feel like a historically accurate movie in the slightest. So that's my thoughts, though, on Harriet, guys. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not? What did you think about all the negatives I said? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.